Devils Brigade, a joint American-Canadian commando unit. Canadian troops had served with distinction, but with the events of D-Day, a mere 2 days later, the Italian campaign became a forgotten front, a deadly sideshow that had cost nearly 6,000 Canadian lives. The final push for victory was to be on land in France. On June 6, the Allies launched the D-Day invasion of Normandy, the largest amphibious invasion force in history. This was D-Day, the momentous conflict that led to the ultimate liberation of Europe. While it was still dark in the early hours of June 6, Allied paratroopers, including 450 Canadians, jumped from aircraft or landed in gliders behind the German coastal defenses. Separated by gusty winds, outnumbered and only lightly armed, they nevertheless captured a German headquarters, destroyed a key bridge, and seized important crossroads, all the while sowing confusion and disorder within enemy ranks. Meanwhile, the Canadian soldiers scheduled to land at Juno Beach warily approached the coastline in their landing craft. Wet, cold, and seasick, they were also confident. Canadian airmen and sailors were among the first into action. The Royal Canadian Air Force had dropped thousands of tons of explosives on German coastal defenses. Canadian fighter pilots fought in overcast skies and contributed in large measure to the achievement of Allied air supremacy. As well, they protected the soldiers on the beach and attacked German formations on the ground. Canadian minesweepers assisted in the tricky but crucial job of clearing a safe path across the English Channel for the invasion fleet. Some made it to shore without much trouble. Others were not so lucky. Many men died the instant they waded into the chest-high water. Undaunted, the survivors advanced past the beach defenses, cleared the minefields, and occupied the adjoining coastal villages. Although only one Canadian unit reached its D-Day objective, the first line of German defenses had been completely smashed. By evening, Canadian troops had progressed further inland than any of their allies. It was a remarkable achievement, but an expensive one as well. To ensure that D-Day would succeed, 359 Canadians had given their lives. Another 574 had been wounded, and 47 taken prisoner. The 1st Canadian Army swept north along the coast of the English Channel, liberating the heavily fortified ports of Boulogne and Calais, and on April 1st northwards through the Netherlands. They fought in appalling conditions over open, flooded ground to capture the approaches to Antwerp, but at tremendous cost. Over 6,000 killed, mostly from among the tired, perpetually wet infantrymen. But the route to Antwerp was safe, and the way was clear for the final advance into Germany. The Canadians advanced over heavily flooded or densely forested ground against fierce enemy resistance. It is remarkable that anyone could have survived the horrors of war, but many did. In 2005, hundreds of those same soldiers seen earlier in this film returned to Holland to celebrate the anniversary of the liberation of the Dutch people. These Canadian veterans came back 60 years later to remember their fallen comrades and to receive the thanks from a grateful nation for delivering freedom and their rescue from starvation and death. More than 115,000 Canadian soldiers have died in war and peacekeeping missions around the world. We are here today to remember and honor those young Canadians who have given their lives in combat, the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice for their country, so that the world would be free.